Wendy Tropician in the bow seat of USA, making the calls as we come through the final timing mark. Now USA know there's only 500 meters to remain. They've been pretty heroic out there in lane number 1. Can they hold on? Because here comes the charge yet again from Denmark in 4, Canada in lane number 3. I'll give you a lane order. USA in 1, Great Britain's Helen Casey and Hester Goodseller are in lane number 2. There they are to the left of the picture. They had a pretty disastrous first 10 strokes, never got into the race. They were sleepy. The rest of the crews left them, and now they are struggling. Canada in 3, Denmark in 4, Germany in 5, Poland also in lane number 6. They were in and amongst it at the 1,000-meter mark, but look how the tempo moves on in the second part.
Look how these two are now moving up. It's their race against each other, Denmark and Canada, that are bringing them up onto the United States. The Canada has really now taken it on, and they are moving very, very well. Denmark just beginning to slip off at pace a little bit.
So Tracy Cameron there, you can see the pain on her face here, the agony as the crews come up to the 1,500-meter mark. It's Canada, it's Denmark, it's USA. This is now developing into a great race here. Up goes the race. Juliana Rasmussen in the stroke seat of the crew from Denmark in lane 4. Out to a half a length. They found some speed from nowhere. The crew from USA in lane at number 1 are just hanging on. They'll hang on, though, to the bronze medal. Denmark pushing as hard as they can. They're not going to be able to catch. Perhaps Canada are going to get this on the line here. Come Denmark yet again. There's nothing in it between these two crews. Inside 50 meters, look at how USA, the top of your picture, have faded out the back here. And Denmark have come through. They've pushed it on as maybe we thought they would, right through to the line. A canvas in its 6 feet. Denmark in the dying part of the race from Canada, from USA, and Great Britain go through in 5th position. It's Denmark, it's Canada, and perhaps we'll wait and see. Calling it USA. Germany came up on the line. We'll wait for the confirmation of that, but there's no doubt it's Denmark's day today. Great Britain in 5th position, way out. Look at the time difference, 6 seconds. Denmark, Canada, and Germany on now lead by 1 length as we go through into the last 500 meters. The race is definitely moving between New Zealand and France for the silver medal, and the danger in that is that both crews then will push themselves forward a little bit more and really get back on terms with Australia. But Drew Ginn never gives anything away easily. He's in the bow seat. He's on the right of your picture. And if you're a coach watching this, this is just a glorious thing. This is the kind of stuff you want to be showing your crews here. How to row controlled, and just it's fluid.
New Zealand have gone up to nearly their 38 strokes a minute, going up to 40 strokes a minute to try and catch Australia. They've gone very early, New Zealand. Australia still just keeping an eye on them, still at 36 strokes a minute. Just a quick look across to make sure there's no threat from Canada. They're out on their own. All they have to do now really is take it home, because New Zealand's not making an impression on them.
So Australia, New Zealand, and France. The New Zealanders, though, now are just starting to wind it up. Look at the difference in rate. Australia closest to us now is starting to respond here. And it's almost a little look right there from Drew Ginn. No call, no call. They look as though they must be happy there, and they are. They're just a little under a length there. Everything in control inside 150 meters. They know that they can just swoop it along here. And New Zealand now just yanking it through, because it was such a tussle with France in lane number 2 as they come up to the line for the first time since last year. We've seen them. Don't they look good? Australia paddling up, and they now lead as we go in through the line. Australia by just under a length from New Zealand, and the tussle has taken it out of France as they float across the line in 3rd position. For Drew Ginn and Duncan Free, it's all about passion and the love of the sport, and they really enjoy their racing, and they've done a good job. The first time we see them this year, they're right up there in 1st position.
Right, so to the women's single sculls and Ekaterina Karsten from Belarus, one of the most dominant figures in international rowing. Is there anybody out there who can challenge her?
Softly spoken woman from Belarus, the 2-time Olympic champion Ekaterina Karsten, though she knows how to make a very big statement. She's doing that now. She has just opened up a phenomenal clear water gap between the rest of the field. This is the final of the women's single sculls. It's the last time we'll see them before the World Championships in Munich in September. and she's looking now to go out with a really, really big bang. A lot of work for the scullers chasing her to do over the next 6 weeks. There's no Great British entry in this event, so I think we don't have to worry about any British sculler coming up against her this year at least. And the race really is on for silver medal. It really is changing each and every stroke here. Now it's Mirka Napkova just inching. It really will come down to who gets the blade in the water on the line for the last one. They're looking at each other. Mirka Napkova looking right there, seeing what she's doing. And Zhang from China in lane at number 3 here. You can see the pain and the agony across her face. A little wobble there as the pressure's now starting to be put on. 250 meters remain. Mirka Napkova from the Czech Republic just taking a little bit of advantage over that. We're talking as though these two scullers are leading the race. There is indeed one sculler way out front who we're not going to see yet. We'll see as we span towards the line. But Dan Mirka looking...
She looked across Knapkova. She looked across, and she had much more to give in the last 500 meters. She just pushed the rate up to about 38, and she's moved right back into the second position again. And now it's interesting to see whether Zhang can respond to that.
So here's the race for the silver medal. Sitting ahead, sitting comfortably, looking back, just watching. A little sprint there. She took the rate down. Ekaterina Carlson from Belarus. She allowed the scullers to just come up on her stern. She's now pushing up to the line, just open that gap again there. It's a commanding performance from the two-time Olympic champion. And Mirka Napkova from the Czech Republic gets the silver medal over Zhang from China. New Zealand in lane number 3 as they go through the 1500 meter mark. It's New Zealand, USA and Romania. Romania are the returning Olympic champions. They've had the last couple of years off, and what a return so far they've had. They're sitting in 3rd place. They won't really catch the gold medalist at the moment, New Zealand, but who knows what they'll do in Munich in September at the World Championships. Great Britain's Natasha Howard and Natasha Page, well, they had a pretty spirited first 500 meters, but they're now just being left off a little bit. Who knows if they can come through again in the to challenge for the bronze medal, but their challenge for gold is well and truly over today.
The United States are fighting back. They haven't given up the race here. They're fighting back. They've gone up to 37 strokes a minute. They are fighting back, but New Zealand has seen it. They've gone up to 38, and they are now moving towards the finish. Very strong rowing there from New Zealand at the top of the picture.
Megan Cook and Anna Mikkelsen from USA, they know in this kind of racing, just keep putting pressure. If you're so close, look, up they go again, both crews. It's just like cat and mouse. Cat and mouse as they come into the last 150 meters. One crew goes up, the other one responds, but New Zealand just stretching it out of here. They are hanging on. Look at the blaze coming out of the finish there. It's pure hanging on for the last 75 meters in the final of the women's coxless pairs here at Lucerne. It's the 3rd of the 3 regattas, the 2007 series. Great Britain's Natasha Howard and Natasha Page won't be able to live with this. They're in lane at number 6, but we can enjoy this cat and mouse fight up to the line. Inside 50 meters, it'll be New Zealand, perhaps just hanging on here. USA, who led so valiantly through the halfway mark, but by 3/4 of a length, New Zealand's Nikki Coles, Julietta Haig from USA in lane number 4. But watch out for this crew. Romania, the Olympic champions, they may well be back. Great Britain then going through in 4th position. Not a bad last 500 for them, but they're really going to have a lot to do to catch up on that distance. So New Zealand top of the pile, USA in 2nd. Ominously, Great Britain are into 4th position because they've been pushed through by just held a little bit there, but the stroke girl Stephanie Schiller from Germany washed out in that first stroke there. Let's see what the effect that's going to have, because what it will do is have noise, and Great Britain will be aware of that stroke coming out in the first one there. Let's see as we go alongside. Belarus in 1, Australia in 2, Germany in 3. Great Britain are in lane at number 4. Winding it up now through the 100 meters, out through to the 150 meter mark. Romania in 5, France in lane number 6.
You know, the British quad will have had a good long hard think about their race plan and how they go about their races. They've got to be much more alert and aware in the middle part of the race, so they'll want to try and put that plan into operation. They were caught napping badly by China in Amsterdam, just not there, but you can see the determination here. They want to put this right. I've never seen them so hard at this stage here. Look, they are really working very hard, wanting to get a good lead and then not sit, but just keep going and produce a dominating result here today. They know that Germany are going to be good. Just looking at Germany a bit earlier on there, their blade work was very, very poor. The blades weren't parallel, their oars weren't parallel, so it's a crew that's been hurriedly put together to try and pull their best athletes, their best 4 athletes together.
So from the blue boat to the yellow boat, the machine of Great Britain, the yellow bibs there indicating they're the current World Cup holders, the current winners so far in 2007. Great Britain through by about a length over Germany, 500 down, 1,500 to go. A crew that's really on a mission here. Really disappointing to lose to China in Amsterdam 3 weeks ago. And you can see now they've opened to 1 length.
Look how sharp it is now. There's real dynamism there, whereas in the middle of the race last 3 weeks ago, there wasn't that dynamism. But that is sharp, that is hard, that is race-winning stuff.
Frances Houghton in the 3 seat for Great Britain backs up Debbie Flood in the 2 seat. What a racer, what a fiery character Debbie Flood is. She was absolutely gutted in Amsterdam, really was gutted there. Putting it right today, perhaps, and Annie Vernon, the new girl in the crew here to the right of your picture, slotting it in to the bow seat. Looking a lot better, it has to be said. They really are looking a better crew than they were 3 weeks ago.
That looks right. I mean, that really does look good. They know that the Germans are going to be very, very fast and are going to press them all the way. But it's going to be interesting to see how over the last 700 meters, how they can build on this much tougher, much stronger approach to the middle part of their race.
And you can see there, look at the quality between these 2 crews. Germany in 2nd place, and Germany have opened up a big gap now between the chasing field. You've got Romania in 5, France in 6, and Belarus and Australia in lane number 2. I mean, there's just such a gap here between these 2 leading crews.
This is very dominant, though, from Great Britain. If they can maintain this, if they can keep the good form and the good style there, you can see how well their blades are together. They're really picking it up well together, but they are absolutely determined to make their mark here.
Well, it's been a formidable first 1,000 meters there, the halfway mark. Great Britain from Germany. There was thought that the German crew were flying. Not so. They're going to really have to turn it round if they're going to get back on track. Catherine Granger from St Andrews, Frances Houghton from Leander Club, Debbie Flood from University of London Boat Club, Annie Vernon from Thames Rowing Club. Paul Thompson in charge of this crew, doing a fabulous job now. They really are stretching it out. This has to be the best we've seen them all season.
Romania new on the block, first appearance here, and it has to be said, putting in a very good showing. World silver medalists, Australia, slipped back to 4th position there, fighting to try and get back on terms. 2 changes in that boat since last year.
Just looking at Romania in lane at number 5, they're struggling because they'll have in lane 4, they'll have the puddles coming down. They'll be aware of the movement of the water in lane number 4 next to them here. But in that 4, in that lane, 2 lanes. Look at that, it's about 2 lanes of clear water. That's a great shot. Look at the determination on Fran Houghton's face there. She sits in the 3 seat, backing up Catherine Granger closest to us. You can really see down this, just like machine-like. It really is moving quite nicely. They still maintain 1 length lead over Germany in lane 3.
There's Catherine Boron there, sitting in the bow seat of the German boat. And the young stroke, Stephanie Schiller, still seems to be less experienced and less effective than the others.
Well, it's almost like Great Britain are sending a postcard to China following 3 weeks ago their defeat to the Chinese quadruple scull. No Chinese quadruple scull today, but that doesn't matter. Great Britain are on a mission. They really now need to turn around a season which has been a little bit erratic, it has to be said, but there's nothing like timing, and it's about timing the precision as you go through the regattas, so you come away from here as strong as you can be, and you go off to the training camp, so when we come back at the World Championships, end of August, beginning of September, you're as strong as you can be.
This is commanding. Great. This is commanding stuff. I was curious to see how they would tackle the last 500 meters after that much more dynamic first 3/4 of the race. Whether Germany would start to push back. This maybe last 400 meters, 300 or 400 meters. Let's see how they finish this race, because this is a storming row. They've been told by their coaches, and they themselves have wanted to go out there and absolutely lay it down and say, sorry, no one's going to question our gold medal this time at the World Championships. We are doing the business. But now, just now in the 200 meters, did they take a lot more out of themselves by going so hard earlier on? And will Germany close up on them?
Germany definitely closing down. They've got the overlap now inside 100 meters the closing stages of this final. Very important that Great Britain hold their nerve. They've just brought the rate down a little bit. They've just lengthened it out. That allows a little bit more boat speed underneath. You can see the German crew scurrying along on the far side there in the blue boat. They've done enough. They can cruise up to the line knowing that their World Cup campaign has been pretty successful. Through in just under a length there is Great Britain from Germany, and coming up over in third position, Romania. Smooth today for Great Britain. They're top of the medal podium. Germany in second place, Romania in third, with China still to come. It's going to be a fabulous World Championships. Well, they've got every reason to rejoice because they finished their 2007 World Cup campaign as overall winners. It was an authoritative race right from the first stroke. They're back in form with only China to come. Catherine Granger there. Fran Horton, big tall Fran Horton, she just gives so much leverage. And then behind her, Debbie Flood, fiery, such a fierce competitor. Annie Vernon, the new girl on board this year. Sarah Winkler's back home and injured, and she stepped up very well, it has to be said.
We knew the Germans would be strong through the middle 1,000, so our aim was to get in front and then absorb any pushes they tried to make and then move away at the end. And today it all went to plan. We knew that the race was ours to lose, and we looked at each other and said, well, we're not going to lose it. We're going to get in front, we're going to stay in front. And yeah, it was a good race. There's a lot of confidence in the crew, a lot of trust. It was really good.
You're up against your old mate Catherine Boron, Fran. Any sideways glances during the race?
Yeah, definitely one on the start, and it did really remind me of 2004. You know, my thought when I crossed the line in 2004 was I don't want to finish second, and I remembered that when I was on the start, and I knew that this was, you know, it's all coming round again, and it's time to lay it all down.
Debbie, how much was that defeat in Amsterdam a real thruster for you, a real determination not to do it again?
Well, we really wanted to go through the World Cup Series, having won every race, so it was a real disappointment losing in Amsterdam. But then, you know, maybe it was the kick we needed to just get back on top of it and look at our weaknesses and really work on them. So we came out here today. The Germans are a class crew, and we came out with passion and intensity to really dominate the race, and that's what we did.
Catherine had a face of thunder a couple of weeks ago. What kind of company has she been like in the intervening time?
Oh well, you know, to start with, it's always everyone's quite down, but it's been very productive, and you know, she hasn't got a face like thunder anymore, so it's all.
Dream in Beijing in 2008, and there are stepping stones on the way to that. It's not about being undefeated and getting to the start line for our final in Beijing as dominating four. It's about having the experiences to refer back to know that you put in your best and came out on top. And by changing boat and being the underdogs and having to have a great row to even be in the race is part of that learning curve.
Just over 2 hours to go before our race, and you can hear in the background the commentary. The atmosphere just feels electric at the moment. I feel that because this is our last race together, this may as well be our World Championships. Nothing more to say now. Let's go race.
Steve Williams in the stroke seat. They've got about half a length over Great Britain 1, which is the regular Great Britain 8. The Coxes are roaring, the crews home, the Grosvenor 8 are just out in front. Here comes China and Great Britain 1 in lane at number 6 on this side. The Chinese crews are challenging the Grosvenor 8, as two are Great Britain 1. Keep their heads up, the Grosvenor 8 looking pretty impressive. It's 3/4 of a length over, down to half a length, down to a quarter of a length. The Chinese crew just missed it, and the Grosvenor 8 on the line by about 2 feet. What a result for them.
Whatever comes now, you know, I'll always remember this day. You know, it was a real tough call putting an 8 together for just 2 weeks, and you know, it was just an awesome race. 4 of us have taken a lot away from that experience. We've learnt a lot from the other 4 guys we were rowing with, and with our new cox.
We had to really dig really deep. We never have to do that in the 4, so it was a real special experience.
It just goes to show a key component of winning is enjoying yourself. It has to be done. If you do not enjoy what you do, you're not going to excel. You're not going to bring out the best. And I was loving every stroke of that.
In the blink of a smile, though, Alex Partridge has now been injured again, and he's racked with doubt and remorse.
The funny thing is, this is exactly the same time as when I had my previous injury in 2004 that it was decided that I wasn't going to go to the Olympics. I'm really worried. I hope it's okay, but it's out of my hands now. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hurting a little bit inside right now.
Produce the goods here. Does that change the possibilities for the next three weeks, but also the next 18 months?
I think it gives Tom an opportunity of being in the 8. I'm pretty sure that Alex will be back and be in the crew. You've got Matt Langridge, who would have been my first choice of going into this 4 because of the problems with the pair. But they knew they were going to be out of this, so they would have done that. So yes, it's boosted Tom, but not for the 4, I don't think.
Are they going to win this?
I wouldn't put my money on it.
Really? Interesting. Let's go live then to Gary Herbert and Dan Topolsky.
They're under starters' orders, and they're away, and if ever they're going to have to dig deep, Great Britain will call on all the reserves today. A lane order for you in the final of the men's heavyweight coxless 4s. The Czech Republic in 1, Italy in 2, Netherlands in 3, New Zealand in lane number 4, and we're watching Great Britain in lane 5, and in lane 6, when we're alongside Greece. And Dan, the nerves now in this crew will be just right on the edge, won't they?
There's a lot of pressure on Tom James because he's come into the crew. He's not race fit, he's not really match fit because he's been taking exams. He didn't get in the 8, so he's I think yesterday's semi-final against New Zealand, where they really battled over the course to try and win it, I think that would have taken a lot out of him, and I'm not sure that he has the same reserves that the others would have. So they're under a lot of pressure here. They've gone into the lead here, but the real test is going to come in the second half of this race.
Just down the lane order, Steve Williams sits in the bow seat. Peter Reid, the commander, in seat number 2. Tom James, he's the sub there in the seat number 3. And we've got Andy Hodge in the stroke seat. Great Britain sitting in lane number 5. There they are, just closest to us now, just starting to creep away. And if anyone can do it, Andy Hodge in the stroke seat. He's just such a great competitor. They're coming up now towards 500. It's a canvas up from Great Britain, but they led this at this position in the semi-final yesterday.
Tom is Tom at 3 there is a very, very good athlete. He's terribly well connected. But he doesn't have that full power that the others have, and the British crew is a lot about power and growing well behind Andy Hodge. New Zealand, though, really were fantastic in Amsterdam. They won that against the Dutch, who are just there alongside them now. Lovely fluent movements there from the Dutch. They move very well indeed, and now they're the ones who are beginning to move up there to challenge Great Britain.
What interesting psychology going on out there on the water at the moment. Look at the conditions. The water is just like a mill pond around them. The focus inside each lane. Netherlands in lane 3. New Zealand in the black strip in the middle of your picture there in 4. Great Britain in lane number 5. Now the questions will be starting to ask as we get through this middle 1,000. Look at the Dutch there in the orange strip starting to move on. Great Britain. Was the whole sort of philosophy of doing that and the reason to do the Super 8 down in Amsterdam, is that going to come back to haunt these guys today?
I think it could. A little bit of fun it was, but it certainly hurt the pair's chances a lot. But it certainly also, I think, hurt the 4 because the injury there to Alex might have been to do a little bit with that change.
So we're into new territory now as we come through the halfway mark in the final of the men's coxless 4. Great Britain leading, but only just. Usually, for the past 29 races, they have been in a commanding position at this stage, going on strong. They know that they've got the 1,000 behind them. They're going to do a big push, which will just open up the field. Here now, we're in a bit of uncertainty because they know that New Zealand, here we're watching New Zealand going through the picture, Hamish Bond and Eric Murray in the stern pair of that crew, and beyond them, Netherlands in lane number 3. Look at that. There's still 2 crews still hunting down Great Britain here. The focus, the energy from all the 3 guys around. Tom James in the 3 seat. The guys must be willing him on now just to lift this boat forwards.
Gary, he's doing a good job. Just look, I mean, he's bringing actually quite a nice smoothness to it there, but they do miss the power of Alex, don't they? That's the difference, and it makes that extra second or 2 difference. But they are holding well. They've got 700 meters to go. New Zealand are still struggling a bit, but New Zealand have a big finish, and that might well start to have an effect in the last 500 meters.
I And the Dutch there in lane number 3 starting to move again. So it gets cat and mouse as we come up towards the final timing mark, where all these crews will do nothing more than sprint for the line. We're looking at Great Britain closest to us here. They've never been in this apart from yesterday in the semi-final, but even in that they led through the 1500-meter mark, only to see New Zealand row through in the last 250 meters. Now is going to be so close. Here we're coming through the final timing mark. Great Britain from Netherlands, from New Zealand. There's nothing in it in those 3 crews. Every single stroke is crucial. Steve Williams in the Bowsy, charging them on, calling them now. Up the rate goes here. This is an incredible race from Netherlands in lane number 3. And what can New Zealand down in lane 4? Have they got the push to go through?
Watch Italy coming now at the top of the picture there. Italy, fast finishers always. Italy have always been good in coxless 4s. They're coming as well. But my goodness, look at the Dutch now. They've really moved out. That lovely flowing movement. They've gone right out now to about half a length ahead of Great Britain. And New Zealand coming as well. Italy have gone through New Zealand. This is a fantastic finish now. We've got in about 300 meters.
Tom James there looking right from the 3 seat. You've got to keep your focus in the boat. Let Stevie Williams in the bow seat call it home. Out to a length, Netherlands in lane number 3. Gilles Vermeulen in the stroke seat. But here comes the British crew again. The British charge is on. Stroke for stroke, they are starting to reel in the Dutch crew. The black all strip of New Zealand in lane 4. At top of the picture there, we're looking at Italy in 2 here. The British boat are coming back. It's going to be very close. Can the Dutch hang on? They were rowed through by New Zealand in Amsterdam 3 weeks ago. Inside 100 meters, the Dutch are hanging. The British are coming. The all-black strip of New Zealand all the way through here is going to be close. We're coming up to the line, the last few strokes, and the Netherlands have got it only just. And how close was that race? It's Netherlands from Great Britain, from New Zealand, and the British heads go down in just disgust here. And look at the excitement and look at the absolute power that it took from the Netherlands to hold on in the last 100 meters.
Do you know, that was I think what happened in the semi-final between Britain and New Zealand took a lot out of them, and that's how the Netherlands, I think, got through here today in the final. But what a great bit of a fight back there at 42 from the British 4. But no, all credit to the Dutch for timing it really very well indeed.
Psychologically, this is going to be a huge race for the Dutch because they were always comfortable. They let the British crew know that they love sitting in their wake. And there it is, an incredible sight. Netherlands first, Great Britain, who would have thought it, in second place. New Zealand in third, get the bronze medal. We've got an exciting 5 weeks as we head out to Munich and the World Championships. So the crowd applauds and Great Britain acknowledge its silver medal today. And what a race for Tom James, the sub, who's asked to stand in at this Super 4. Well, they seem to be in good spirits. Steve Williams there, not too worried about it all. I think they put it all into perspective. Alex Partridge at home will be watching this, knowing that he's eager and dying to get back into the crew. Peter Reid, Tom James, sub here, which really can't be blamed for this result. It's a powerful crew, and he really doesn't have the power to match Andy Hodge there in the stroke suit. That's Great Britain. It's silver today. Will it be gold in 5 weeks' time?
We're going to learn an awful lot from this silver medal that we can take forward into the Beijing phase of this unit. And it has to be said that the last 6 weeks or so have been a real roller coaster for us. So we started off in Linz with a gold medal in the 4, and then we went into the 8 and had a period there, and then afterwards this last 3 weeks we've had Andy slightly ill, we've had Alex going out with an injury, we've raced exceptionally well with Tom on board in Henley, and that was only a week ago, and to come here we've put on really brave faces and really put on a good performance. So I'm really pleased with what we've done.
The Dutch rode a great race, and full credit to them. They were faster today, but I think we shouldn't be too disappointed. You know, we put together a fantastic race. It wasn't good enough today, but it's given us food for thought, and we'll go away, we'll train very hard, and in 6 weeks in Munich, we'll make sure we put it right.
The last 2 weeks have been a big learning curve for me, and you know, it's not every day you get an opportunity to row in a World Championship winning boat. So, you know, just try to learn as much as I can for it and put in the best performance. And you know, we did everything we could to try and win out there. It wasn't quite enough, but you know, that's where it goes, I guess. You know, it's a close race, small margins. You always I guess we're always going to be thinking about what if we did this, but you know, it was a really tough race. We put everything on the line, so couldn't really have asked for much more, I don't think.
If it goes to show anything, you know, good is never good enough. We have to come back, like Steve said, work out ways to go faster. It's what we've always tried to do. It's what we will always try to do in the future. And there is only one race that counts in Beijing.
James Clark in the stroke seat of Great Britain. Lane 4 leads his men away. Nice and smooth, nice and relaxed. They're away clean, which is the most important thing. And now through 5 out to 10. They just have to get the rate right up, whip it along here. A little bit bouncy there, but this is a crew that have found a lot of speed. They qualified having won their semi-final yesterday. It's been a very, very long time, Dan Topolsky, since we've been able to say we've got a crew in the men's lightweight coxless 4 that are contending for the gold medal.
It has been a while, and it's a great event, very hot event. This it's a lovely boat, and they're only usually about 3 or 4 seconds behind the heavyweights in this event, so it does illustrate how competitive it is. The Italians are always strong in this boat class, but Great Britain have found such a good rhythm. They've brought James Lindsay Finn in from the double from last year into the 4, and it's made a good difference. Richard Chambers is new in here. It's a new lineup, and Robin Williams has done a fabulous job in putting together a 4 that really can match the best in the world. Remember, we haven't got China here, who are world champions and were first in Amsterdam. They're not here today, but the British crew ran them very close 3 weeks ago.
It's a great opportunity for Great Britain then to really sort of stamp their mark and their challenge on the Chinese when they'll meet again in 5 weeks' time at the World Championships. Great Britain now coming up through 500 meters. Good start. Very good first 500 meters. Not a bad time, a 1:26 here. They can have the confidence now just to stretch it out a little bit. We've got James Clark at Oxford Brookes University, 23 from Durham University. James Clark from Durham University sits up there in the stroke seat, just nice and smooth. Paul Mattick from Wallingford Rowing Club, 29 years of age. James Lindsay Finn from London Rowing Club, 31 years of age. And Richard Chambers from Oxford Brookes, the youngster in the crew at 22.
They're rowing with tremendous class. I mean, there's such relaxation in that boat, where you can see how they're letting the boat travel, run between the strokes. They're very well drilled, and that's a mark of a crew that you expect to go places. They're relaxed. They're allowing the boat to. Any good top-class athlete will not look as if they're trying. And these guys are connecting well with the oars going into the water at the front end. They take the load there with the legs. The legs drive down and drive the oar through the water. So they're not so much pulling as pushing with the legs. That's the key there. And they've got to keep the oar, the blade tip, anchored in the water as they lever past the boat. And they are moving very, very well indeed.
At the 500-meter mark, Great Britain had a quarter of a length. Coming up to the halfway mark now, Great Britain looking to push that out, extend it out to 1 length. It's about just stepping on each and every 500, and the British crew seem to be doing that. But looking alongside them in lane 5, the crew from Netherlands starting to just ease through. They were 3rd at Amsterdam 3 weeks ago, 11th in the World Championships last year. But the British are responding quite nicely. They're still keeping it long. They're not being flustered here. But what a sight to be sitting in that boat, Dan, when you can see 5 boats chasing you quite closely behind.
Including France, who was 2nd in the world last year. Same crew. So you've got, you're sitting on top of some extremely good crews. Australia was 6th last year. They're out there in lane 1, but they're not going to challenge. It does look like Holland are going to be the ones to bring up the pressure onto Great Britain over this last 750 meters.
I mean, in the race 3 weeks ago in Amsterdam, Great Britain and China, it was just them, it was cat and mouse. And so they weren't really worried about the Netherlands. But now with China out of the picture for this regatta, they've got to be really focused on making sure they reach that very same standard so that they're not sort of being drawn back into the pack here by Netherlands chasing in lane number 5, by France chasing the French crew. Let's not, underestimate them. They're the Olympic champions from Athens in 2004, although there's now a little bit of clear water developing between Great Britain and France in lane 3.
This gives me a great kick. I won a silver medal in this event, so I love watching the 4s because it's a great event to be in. And these guys they've carried on to another level.
British crew doing very well in this final then. The men's lightweight, coxless 4. They were nice and steady in that first 500. Get to the first mark, establish a rhythm. They've had a great middle 1,000. They're into the last 500, 3/4 of a length up, in a good position now to defend any strike. But they've got to watch just France in lane 3 starting to make that move. They're now closing down the all-important clear water.
But Gary, look, just then as they saw that they were through into the last 500, they just lengthened a bit. They just took a little bit more reach for the stroke, lengthened, took a longer stroke, and they've just moved on ahead again. It's very mature rowing, and they are right there on top of a very, very strong field. They must watch out for the Dutch, though, who are coming pretty fast, and the French, who are notoriously fast finishers.
So the Dutch going off on the steering. Look at that. The steering has gone completely now for the Dutch. They're out and across the boys. Don't know what's happened there. That's their race game over, because if they go out into the lane, the impeding lane of Italy, and they impede Italy, they'll be disqualified. Look at what's happened there. The Dutch just out of the line. Here come, though, France in lane 3, bringing with them Canada in lane number 2. The Australians on the far side as well. And the Dutch back into their lane. They'll be bitterly disappointed to let the French crew coming up in lane 3. The British crew, though, in lane number 4, hanging off. It's 3/4 of a lane. It's inside 100. It's now inside 75. It's up to 50 meters. The British crew, for the first time in this event, are going to sit at the top of the pile. They win the event for the first time. Great Britain by half a length. So Great Britain first, France get it into second, Netherlands are pushed back into third position. And a great day, though, to be in the British crew. A well-deserved gold medal there from the British crew in what has been a fantastic 2007 World Cup campaign. And James Clark in the stroke seats, getting the applause there. Paul Mattock, well supported behind him in the 3-seat. James Lindsay Finn setting into and backing him up. Last but by no means least in this fantastic combination, Richard Chambers.
They're a very powerful crew, went off pretty aggressively, and we like to dominate the race where we can row better, and I don't think a crew ever got in front of us, but we always know crews coming at us in the last 200 meters, so we made sure in the 500 meters before that we gave ourselves enough of a buffer, and it was second in the end, the margin, so pretty happy about that.
It's more than enough, isn't it? Describe that gold medal winning feeling. You've had bronze, silver and now gold.
Well, it just seems the obvious sequential progression. So each World Cup we're getting better. We're new crew, so every time we race we're learning things about ourselves, and it does seem quite easy just to take the next step up each time. And hopefully the same is going to happen for Munich, when the Chinese will be back, our big opposition. So yeah, it's been quite a exciting 3 sets of races.
And what's made the difference in the lightweight team? Because it's not just you guys, it's everyone. Where has the push come from?
Oh, I think definitely the system has backed us up really strongly, and we've had a really good training program. Most of all, I think having Robin Williams coaching us, he's done an excellent job as lead coach of the lightweights, and he's really led us well, and I think that has made a big difference. So thanks to him.
Bill Barry coaches Alan Campbell from Great Britain as they go through the halfway mark. Great Britain in second place. Now, Bill Barry is such a great coach around Alan, and Alan has such confidence in Bill. So they'll know now that they're going to have to really work on their race profile. It's not about sprinting out the first 500. It's about a steady platform as we move forwards. We're looking at the lane order. Netherlands in 1, Great Britain in 2, Alan Campbell, Mahe Drysdale from New Zealand, the 2-time world champion in lane 3, Olaf Tufte from Norway, the Olympic champion in the yellow boat on the left of your picture there in 4. Andre Chinnick, the race leader right from the first stroke. He's in lane 5, and Lasse Koronen from Sweden is in lane 6.
Chinnick, remember, has won the Linz World Cup, the Amsterdam World Cup. So he's the front runner here, and he's moving away. Now this is where it really tells. This race that the Drysdale and Campbell had last week. This is where it's going to be. It's beginning to hurt. And now you can see Tufte from Norway beginning to push back through the world champion.
There's Olaf Tufte. He was second in Amsterdam 3 weeks ago, 4th in Linz. You can just see in the first regatta of this season. So again, he's been just stalking the positions. It's about notching it up at each regatta, so you're poised to strike hard when it comes to the World Championships in Munich at the beginning of September. There's Ondrej Činec from the Czech Republic there, making it look pretty easy there. Little look to the right as we come up to the final timing mark. There's 1,500 meters down. There's 500 meters to go in the final of the men's heavyweight single sculls, and Great Britain's Alan Campbell still sitting in second place. Now, so far it has been a very measured race for Alan Campbell. We usually see him sprinting out. He's sitting a half a boat length down on Ondrej Činec. At one point it was a length. Now Alan Campbell is starting to move on. Is he starting to mature through this campaign here? Alongside him, Mahe Drysdale, his friend, his training partner, but today his rival. And look how now Drysdale in the black strip just moving it on hard.
Just then he just pushed the rating up to 36 strokes a minute. He's going to eat up the other scullers now. He's into his stride, and now Alan Campbell is going with him. This is a fantastic replay of last week's Henley race.
Alan Campbell has to keep his head up. He's at the top of the picture there, the sculler. Look at the rate difference here. Alan's obviously a couple of strokes, a bit more a high of Mahe Drysdale in the black strip. We're through 250 meters. 200 meters to go now. Every stroke is crucial. Ondrej Činec, closest to us, who has led this race so valiantly, is hanging on, hanging on. Look again, Mahe Drysdale. Up it goes. Out to 6 feet lead. He's taking it on, but coming with him, the fighter, the bulldog, that is Alan Campbell in lane number 2. This is a fabulous race here. It's not over though. Alan Campbell goes up to 40 strokes per minute. Mahe Drysdale from New Zealand, the world champion, hanging on. It's the dying stages, the last 5 strokes. They're coming up. Alan knows he can do it. He can smell it. He can see and feel the line, but it's not going to be his day. On the day is Mahe Drysdale from New Zealand. Second, Alan Campbell from Great Britain there, and third was Ondrej Činec from the Czech Republic. It was a fabulous final, a great race. 0.3 of a second separate Mahe Drysdale, the world champion, from Alan Campbell, the world pretender. Let's see how that goes. Ondrej Činec gets the bronze. And Alan Campbell being applauded by his fellow and wanting the crowd to cheer as well there. Indeed, Alan, we cheer you and we applaud you, because this was probably the best race so far of 2007. It was a mature race from start to finish. There were no heroics in the first 500. A little hello to Mum back in Northern Ireland, to the people of Coleraine.
Had a silver, 6th, and then a silver again here in Lucerne. This is always the one that really sort of, I think, counts out of the 3 of the World Cups. And you know, the gold just eluded me just ever so slightly today, but you know, to be honest, I lost 2 good mates, I did, and I'm really happy about that. I got them in Henley's, I did, just last weekend at the Royal Regatta, but I think, you know, there's we're all stepping on, and I think, you know, it's a very tight field, and you know, there's 7 guys there that can, you know, all have a chance of getting a medal coming into Munich. I think there's less maybe that have a chance of really making the gold medal, but I'm very, very happy with it. So.
Talk about the progress that you've made this season, Alan.
We've tried out different race plans, as we have, and we've also.
Are you a bit more consistent, a bit more even over the length of the course?
I would say, yeah, definitely. I think, you know, I can show that I can be consistent. I can show that I can be very fast off the start. I can show I can have a last 500 that's very, very quick as well. And it's a case of, you know, I've got all the individual parts are all there, and it's now just a case between now and Munich, putting them all together and putting together the perfect race, as they say. And you know, hopefully we can come out on top. Again, though, the big one is always the Olympics in Beijing, and we're always looking towards that. And Munich will only be a stepping stone towards that. But you know, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. And you know, the whole team, the whole of the British team, we've done so well. So we have absolutely fantastic results. And you know, I'm really, really excited, and it's a really good team, really good atmosphere to be in at the minute. And you know, there's a real positive energy, positive vibe, and we're all making big steps forward. So, and you know, watch this space come Munich. I think, you know, there'll be a few surprises as well along the way. So it's good. It's a good, exciting times.
Go on, I know you want to do it. Put the cup above your head.
Woohoo!
Well, they've been strong in the first 1,500 meters. Estonia in lane at number 6. They are doing what they did in Amsterdam. They've just gone along quietly on the outside of the course here. They're in lane 6. Great Britain are in lane at number 3. They've been creeping back, creeping slowly as we've gone through the middle 1,000. They're now moving up into 2nd place. They were down in 5th place after 500 gone. They've had a great middle 1,000. Have they left it too much there for them to do to claw back on Estonia out there and leading?
Well, they've cut through Slovenia, who are hugely experienced, and but they did beat them in Henley last year, which was a shock defeat. But the Slovenians came back and in Lucerne reversed that result. But here, this is absolutely unquestionable. They have just walked through Slovenia, and they're now hard on the tail of Estonia.
So they're coming up to about 300 meters to go now. Look at the pain and the expression on Lucas Spick in the bow seat. That was just the guy to the furthest of the picture here. And that's the gap that Great Britain have to do. It's a little over a length. Look down the buoy lines here. Then you'll see as the stern of Estonia closest leaves the buoy, the bows of Great Britain go across it here. We're inside 200 meters remaining. And really, Stephen Rowbotham in the stroke seat has to up it if he's going to push on and challenge Estonia. Look at the Estonians. They are just simply hanging on here.
Estonia, he was looking across there and he could see how fast they were coming. But he knows he's up there at 40 strokes a minute, and he's across the line first.
So Estonia first, Great Britain in 2nd place, Slovenia in 3rd. It's 1, 2, 3. Another good finish for Great Britain, but they'll be disappointed because they'll know they've got more to come. So Great Britain pushed into 2nd place, Estonia top of the picture, but with that 2nd place, Great Britain are the overall World Cup leaders and winners for 2007. Matt Wells and Steve Rowbotham for Great Britain get the silver medal today. On the line, their heads were down. They were disappointed. They knew they were just a little bit sloppy in the first half of the race. But here is a crew to watch out for, not just for Munich, the World Championships, but for Beijing next year.
Obviously, we'd like to have won. I mean, I never go out there to race for 2nd place, but we've been the most consistent crew throughout the whole series. We're a second and a half off the winners. We know what we've got to work on, and we'll go away for 6 weeks and work on it. And we know, both of us, we've both got confidence that we can get that gold in Munich.
But the progress you've made in a short space of time, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we've been the most successful, consistent crew through these World Cups, and yeah, we definitely stepped on from last year's bronze medal at the World. So we're looking for the last 2 places now, and this next 6 weeks and 3 weeks up the mountain with no one else there, I think we'll definitely progress.
It's the last chance saloon for Great Britain to step up if they're going to get onto the medal podium. You've got Asa Nethercott hunched down, driving the crew forward. Alistair Heathcote in the stroke seat. He's from the Army Boat Club, Army Rowing Club. He will need the Army behind him to lift the game now. The British crew are holding and fighting for 4th place. Out clear. Look how impressive the Canadians are, Dan.
That's just wonderful. They've got a wonderful finish now. All those lie back that they used to do over the last few years has allowed them really to develop that finish very, very effectively. And look how they recover. There's a wonderful kind of spin around the finish of the stroke. Very powerful performance from them. But can Great Britain get back now on terms with Russia for the 3rd place?
Brian Price sits in the coxing seat of the Canadian crew, talking to Carl Hamilton in the stroke seat. He was looking right at the Germans. You know, when you've got a length up and you're coming into the crowd with less than 150 meters to go, the race is yours. The race really now is on for the silver medal position. The Russians up there in lane number 2 haven't given up. They're putting the blade in there, hanging on for dear life. The Germans closest to us here. Up goes the rate. All of these crews now are up on about 44 strokes per minute. The Canadians are going to hang on. It's going to be a little under a length. They've done enough. They're going to win this. Where are Great Britain out of the picture? It's Canada, it's Germany, and it's Russia. And it wasn't very close in the end. And here come the Great Britain crew in 4th position, and they are well off the pace, really. Surprising for them. And there it is, Canada there, 1st place, Germany and Russia, and Great Britain disappointing in 4th position. $1,500 gone. It's about a quarter of a length, less than USA, the world champions, over Germany, the world silver medalist. And there, Great Britain go through in 5th position. And we're looking now to see whether Great Britain really step on ahead of Russia. They're moving on Russia, but they've really got to get back into this race here because the race is just going away from them, being taken away by USA and Germany. Look at the Americans now. They've stepped up from a quarter of a length out to a third.
Just looking at those close-up of the faces of the German crew, you could see they were looking a little bit frail, a little bit under pressure there. They were beginning to suffer, and absolutely just at that moment the United States put on the pressure, pushed their foot down, and they've just started to move away. They look much tougher in the water, don't they? This last 500 meters, they look so determined there. But got to hand it to Germany. They're still in there, moving very nicely with their boat, but it's United States just pounding through the water.
They really have. Mary Whipple in the coxswain suite, such an experienced cox. She knows just to flick the switch. Up they go. It's a change of gear. And the most impressive thing about the American boat is they keep the length. Look how long they are. They're stretching out. They don't want to waste a single part of this stroke out to 3/4. And they're still going. They're still hungry. They want more. They want the length here. The Germans have just got their heads coming down. They're a little bit slow around the catch. We're looking there at Susan Frankia, the stroke woman, as they come up to about a length with less than 50 meters to go. It'll be USA that'll win, winning comfortably because a length of thereabouts is very comfortable in the 8th division. Up they come to the line. It's USA from Germany, and we'll have to see who's coming into the bronze medal position. Netherlands get the bronze medal, and how the competition is stretched out. Here come Great Britain coming through. Great Britain in 4th, New Zealand in 5th, and Russia, well, they're over the line in 6th. So there it is, United States, Germany and Netherlands. Great Britain in 4th position, but ominously they're 10 seconds off the United States of America. A lot of work to do for Great Britain. .1,500 meters down, only 500 meters to go. They clear by just a length. Denmark, the world champions, looking to make it 3 in a row in 2007. Now they can really start to stretch again and start to move on, and they are doing that. And look at Hungary and France. Hungary in lane number 5, starting to push on, challenging Great Britain in 2. Great Britain still haven't pushed back through Australia in lane number 1.
Australia moving well. They've pushed on very well in that last 500 meters. Great Britain do have a good finish. They finished very well, but they've got a lot to do now. They've just lost the initiative a bit, but they've got to mount the attack now, the counter-attack now, if they're going to hold off Hungary and if they're going to hold off and they catch Australia.
So there it is. It's coming stroke for stroke. Every time the blade goes in, you've got to make sure it's really contributing to the boat speed. There's 250 meters to go. You cannot afford a wasted stroke. Look at Denmark pushing on again. Rasmus Quist in the stroke seat. You can see the crews all now belting it back towards them. Inside 200 meters, the crew from Denmark, the world champions, looking to make it 3 in a row, and they may well do this. Hungary, the world champions, 2 years ago, pushing on a half a length clear of Australia. Australia now have to fight to hold on to that bronze. Finally, Great Britain's Mark Hunter and Zach Purchase upping it. It's going to be oh so close on the line. Inside 75 meters of this final, the men's lightweight double sculls. Great Britain have sat quietly in lane number 2 in the middle 1,000. Are they going to do enough to get on the line? It's going to be very, very close. It's stroke for stroke as they come up to the line. Just Great Britain will wait and see whether they get that. But out front, let's not forget, 3. It's a hat-trick for Denmark. They were first at Linz, they were first in Amsterdam, and will they be first in Munich at the World Championships in September? So there it is, Denmark clear by 2 seconds and just over Hungary from nowhere into the silver medal position. Australia squeezed out to 4th. This is going to be a great event at the World Championships later this year. Great Britain had a pretty good first 500 meters. They were in second as they went through the first 5. They were in amongst the pack at the halfway mark. Now they're down into 5th position as we go through the 1,500 meter mark. It really now will take a bit of a change in speed if they're going to get back on track and challenge for that bronze medal. But there's no doubt about the race leaders right now, the Olympic champions. They really haven't sort of let off the pressure and that rate. They maintain it right from the first stroke. It's a commanding lead.
They are moving now, the British double. They have really picked it up very well. They've gone up to 35 strokes a minute, and they're putting a lot of pressure on Italy over in lane 2.
Elise Laverick in the bow seat, a fierce competitor here now. She knows, she's been in this position before. She knows what it's like to get a medal in this event. She's got bags of experience here. And although it's their first outing for the 2007 series here, they will want to really push themselves on. If they can just get onto that medal podium, they know they've got a great looking future through to Munich later this year.
Italy have responded though. Italy up there beginning to put a lot of pressure now on Germany. On the far side, just by the finishing tents, they are really mounting an attack there. Experienced Elisabetta Sansani in the stroke seat. She's been here before as well. Great Britain now lifting it up as well. Big battle there for third place.
So they're coming in, their charge is in now to the line. The last few strokes, the Olympic champions looking very impressive, very slick now. Less than 100 to go. The Great Britain crew are going to be coming through as well, maybe into 4th position as we come up to the line now. How close is that? Pretty good for New Zealand, and we've got Germany in 2nd place, and we've got Italy in 3rd, and Great Britain in 4th position there, but look how close it was. They know that they have got all the confidence in the world as they go away to the World Championships in Munich in September to push up further.